strawberry jams, but my gun don't. Obviously in my case it's airsoft guns. I say airsoft gun. Today's one isn't an airsoft gun. It's the Umarex Home Defense Extreme HDX 68. Ignore that. It's the Umarex P2P TX 68.
The high power variant.
This is another Airsoft Mike production.
Now, I don't do paintball, but you know me, I love buying these Umarex, anyway, I don't even know what to call them. They are paintball markers, but they do much more than that. This bad boy, just like the previous Umarex one I did in this sort of field, can take a .68 caliber rubber round. Now, the reason why I said ignore that is because this is the UK. Now, there are 3 versions of this bad boy that you can get. You can get the low-powered 7.5 joule version. You can also get the high-powered variant, which is what this one is. This is the high-powered variant, okay? So this is, what is this? 16 joules, but depending on what country you are in, this bad boy comes in a whopping 40 joules version. Obviously, we're not allowed that in the UK, so this is the UK legal version, and it still, as I said, is a high power variant. However, if you get the 40 joule one, those of you living in other countries where you're allowed that, these little 12 gram CO2 capsules or cartridges just won't cut it. The 40 joule version of this needs this bad boy. Look at the size difference. So although the one I've got here today will take this little 12 gram one, you do need 2 of them. Again, not a paintball channel, but I love the concept and idea of this. So yeah, just going to show you the basics. You can look. I'm not going into any details. Yes, it's pump action. The magazine tube takes 16 rounds of these bad boys, and you can see the difference between a .20 BB and a .68 or 68 rubber ball. A nice cool looking set of sights. There's your rear and there's your front. Fiber optic. Oh, and by the way, no, you can't just shove one of these into there. It's not designed for this. Now, I do have .68 cal paintballs, and I'm not going to be using that in here, no way. So I'm just going to use the rubber ones for now. And to get the CO2 in, all you do is take off your stock by pressing your stock release right there. And once the stock is off, you can unscrew this. If you can't do it by hand here, it actually comes with this handy little tool. And then you pop in your 2 12 gram CO2 capsules, and then you screw the cap back on nice and tight, and guess what? It will not pierce the CO2. And when you put the stock back on, take a look at the back here. A huge button will appear, so I'm going to push it on. See that? Now I think that's a pretty good feature, because now you have your 2 CO2 capsules or cartridges in your stock down the tube, but they're not pierced until you press that. No matter how many times you pull the trigger or play around with it, it's not going to happen. Nothing will go bang. Good. Oh, and by the way, if you're like me and you lose things very easily, I would suggest you put that back on in there. You can actually just leave it on there. It doesn't have to stay off. Now, how do you load it? Well, just there, on your mock ejection port. Now, I tell you what, mate, I really am getting myself ready for when the zombies attack. But anyway, now to rack this bad boy so you can get that mock ejection port open, you have to make sure the trigger is back. So if it's not back, like it's not there now, nothing will happen. You've got to pull the trigger, and then you're good to go. And that's what you're presented with at the ejection port. Now, like me, I'm not a paintballer. Okay, I don't know much about paintball markers. I just know I love these HDR and HDX series that Umarex have come out with. That, yes, essentially they're paintball markers. In other countries, they're home defense, the more powerful ones. But I love the fact that these not only can use paintball, you can put rubber balls in them. You can put rubber balls that are mixed with steel in them. They're still not lethal, okay? This is UK legal versions. But yeah, I love these things. But if you're not familiar with these sort of platforms, you'd be forgiven for thinking that orange thing there is a free little orange bonus paintball they've given you there. Look, a little orange one. Well, no, it's not. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that's its equivalent to a magazine follower, maybe? Anyway, however, there's two ways you can load this bad boy. You can actually just put them in manually one by one, or if you look at the base of the grip, you've got a little tool there that you can grab hold of. And the idea is you're supposed to use this, slot it in, and you know what? I'll be honest with you, I love Umarex. I love that brand so much, even if I don't pronounce their name correctly most of the times. Umarex, or Umarex, is one of my favorites, but I'm sorry. This design here, using this little tool to load the balls into there, is exactly that, balls. And a waste of time in my opinion when you can just get your balls, no, let's rephrase that. When you can just get your rounds and just shove them in. I mean, look, there's one in there already. Granted, you're better off not wearing gloves when you're doing it, it just makes it a whole lot easier. You literally just pop them in and push them down. And again, you're not just limited to these rubber ones. You can use it as a paintball marker. That's what it is really. And you can use ones that are filled with chalk and aluminium ones.
Aluminum.
Aluminium.
Aluminum.
Aluminium.
Aluminum.
Oh, I give up. Now remember, I haven't pressed in on that button yet on the end of the stock, so the CO2 is not hot. And when I do press it, right here you will see a little indicator pop up, and it needs a little thump. And now it's ready. And just something to note, that doesn't stay in when it's pierced. It actually protrudes a little bit more from what I can see, and it stays out. Right, if the little hand cannon version I did from this line of Umarex paintball markers is anything to go by, this is way more powerful than that. It should absolutely shred through the box that it came in, the shipping box, and it should come out the other end and end up in the velour. Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. Not only is this bad boy very loud, the rounds absolutely thumped through this box, and yep, each one not only tore through on the exit, look at the velour, it literally parted the dreadlocks, look, a gaping hole there. Wow. And you know what? I have a feeling that if I used my SRC Giga Target system instead of the very strong and sturdy velour, I reckon it would have torn through the back and cracked it open somewhere. Because as I showed you in my unboxing of this and comparison between the two, as much as I love this, the material is very thin in comparison to this very sturdy velour. Now, although these velour target systems, oh man, it's becoming a velour video. No, but although these are not made anymore, if you look here, it says vtairsoft.com. However, I wonder what happens if you go to the website vtairsoft.com. Oh, and thank goodness for that. The power this bad boy's pushing out, it's good to see that it does have a safety button. Nice.